Hello, welcome to baking chiffon pound cake. I'm trying to make a beautiful koi pound cake for my boyfriend's birthday. This is my first video, so if it's a little awkward, don't worry, just keep watching. It'll get better, I hope. Anyway, so I found this video of a beautiful cake as I was watching YouTube. I was looking for something that my boyfriend would like. He likes fish ponds, so I wanted to bake something that included jello and like multiple layers, because I've been watching a lot of Korean cake videos and they all have these beautiful jelly tops, so I really wanted to make something like that. So let's hope for a lovely result. I started with the dry ingredients. It's just a basic chiffon cake, and in the video I'm already into the wet ingredients, but I'm just gonna tell the ingredients that I used already. So 2 cups of flour, sugar, baking powder, and I kind of made a mistake here because I added the egg yolks and I didn't sift my dry ingredients. As you can see, it's pretty chunky, and it turned out, like, in the end it turned out kind of chunky after I baked it too. So oil and cold water and vanilla, that's what I added next. Now the egg whites. So as I was baking this, I was kind of watching some drama videos all about Trisha Paytas because that's what I enjoy, even though they're pretty stupid. So I added some cream of tartar to the egg whites. It helps make it like more fluffy, I think. And just keep beating it. I beat it like on the highest setting for the mixer, and it takes a while for it to become stiff peaks. Stiff peaks are like when you kind of hold the bowl upside down and it shouldn't fall out, but it's a little bit scary to do that because sometimes it doesn't turn into stiff peaks and it's more watery. So if you see it moving, don't hold it upside down. As I'm recording this, I'm starting to realize how annoying my voice is. And like, I listen to YouTube videos pretty much all day. I always have my AirPods in if I'm at work. I'll just have one AirPod in and I'll listen to YouTube all day, like for maybe 10 hours. But I really can't talk. I'm so nervous. Like, I feel like I should be more comfortable having listened to, but I was never one to really speak up too much. I mostly just listen, I think. So I'm excited to start talking more and saying what's on my mind. So hopefully I can become more confident. We'll see. Okay, so now I'm going back to mixing the chunky egg white flour. Oh, it looks nasty, like someone threw up. But as I mix it, it's getting a little bit better, but you can still see some chunks in there. When you add the egg whites to this mix, you're gonna want to just fold it in with your spatula. So I have this little spatula. Me and my boyfriend use it for cooking eggs, but we can use it for baking too when I do. So it should just make sure that your egg whites stay fluffy, and the batter should be like, it should have some air in it. It shouldn't be really heavy or thick. I like how the spatula slides into the batter. It looks very satisfying. So now I'm gonna butter the pan. I just use like the wrapper still on the butter and just go around and around and around. And then add some dye. I'm using blue because of course this is a koi pond. And I did save some batter for a different baking that I'm doing. It's a Swiss roll, but I'm not gonna be showing that in this video. So I wanted be green, and I don't really like it. But I'm just adding more food coloring to try and get the perfect color. Seeing these food color droplets is just reminding me of the Trisha Paytas video that I was watching at the time, which is about her and Moses and how he has his picture taking of water that he does, and he never wants to tell anyone exactly how he does it. And I think that he just uses some like droplets of dye and then he pours it in the water, and he thinks he's so smart and famous. So this is I'm trying to make like a mochi, like a easily moldable, kind of like edible clay. I used mochiko powder and sweetened condensed milk, and then this is the first try. This one didn't really turn out. It's really sticky and it wasn't mixing well. And then you just like put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds. But this one, it did not turn out and I had to try again. And to make sure it microwaves well, cover it with the moist paper towel. That way it's gonna steam inside of there. That's always how we reheat rice. And you can also make mochi in the microwave by doing that. Yeah, so as you can see, this one really turned super hard, like a rock, and it wasn't stretching. It was just really sticky and not easy to use. So I tried again. I think I used more mochiko powder and a little bit, or no, sorry, other way around. I used a little bit more condensed milk, so it was stickier going into the microwave, but it came out nicer and easier to mold. This really isn't very easy to mold at all, but it was doable. Like, it was super sticky. Even though it turned out okay, it was super sticky. So I'm still mixing, just keep trying to get the right consistency. Okay, so it's about to come together. So again, I just microwaved it and it turned out okay. So just put some sesame oil on the cutting board and put the sesame oil on your hands too, that way it doesn't stick. So I flattened it out and I wanted to use 4 different colors. At first, like, I know I said koi pond, I wanted to do fish, but it wasn't really working out, so I decided to do little stingrays. So I used red and green for some lily pads, and also like this really dark color, kind of purple. I wanted to do black, but I didn't have any black food coloring. As I added more food coloring to the sticky dough, it started to get more and more sticky, so I decided to let it rest for a little while, and then it was a little bit easier to turn into the stingrays and the lily pads. But yeah, this was really sticky and really hard to work with. For the most part, none of the colors dyed my hands too bad, except for this dark purple. My hands were so purple, they were colored for like maybe 1 or 2 days. The stain did come out of the cutting board eventually though. Okay, so now the cake is done baking, so I'm gonna cut off the top because it's kind of rounded, and I do need it to be flat because the jello's gonna go on top of it. So I'm deciding which knife to use. I went with this little one because it was serrated, and then just to start the cut, and then I used the bigger knife, but it turned out really uneven and I kind of had to go over it a couple times. And you can see it's really uneven but there, I fixed it. And it was nice because I got to taste the cake by eating the top part. So I just tasted it and it tasted really good. So I'm putting it back into the cake pan and I'm just gonna let it cool as I clean up, and I'm gonna start to make the jello soon. So this one I was trying to make like kind of a cream, like chocolatey, like a chocolate cream layer. I just used some full cream and cream of tartar and also some jello mix, chocolate jello mix. And it took me a while to get it to turn into jello, so you kind of have to heat it up to activate the jello and then mix it, and it was a whole process, and I really shouldn't have done this at all. I should have just stuck with only jello and only cake, but I decided I wanted to make it fancy and put in another layer. So this is just that layer, like the creamy jello layer. So as you can see, I decided to use the mixer because it really wasn't thickening. So what I did use was jello pudding, not regular jello. So I put in the chocolate jello pudding and eventually it did work. Okay, so now I'm gonna start making the lily pads and the little decorations in the cake. So I just portioned the green one and I put it into a little circle and cut out a little slice. So it turned to a lily pad, and I made a couple of these, maybe like 5 or 6, and I just made it all the same way. So now I'm taking the pink one and I'm gonna make, I started trying to make a fish but I mean it was not working. I couldn't turn it into a fish. So I took the red one and decided to try and make a stingray. See, I'm shaping it into like a little triangle and then kind of making the little fins stick out a little bit, and I have his tail. The tail kind of kept breaking, but I did get it to work. The pink guy over there still looks really sad, but don't worry, I'll fix you. So I took some of the black one, well, like black purple kind of, and I made 2 little eyes for my red stingray. So there, I stuck it in. It was a little bit too big, so I cut it in half. And now it has the perfect size little eyes. So I still use the sesame oil on my hands just to make sure that it doesn't stick to my fingers. And I did give him a little smile. As you can see, he still does not have a tail yet. Now I'm rolling out his tail and put it together. So now I'm getting myself some of the pink one, and I'm going to make a little baby stingray. The same way, I just took it in a circle and then gave him some little wings. Not wings, what is it called? Fins. And then I gave him a tail and some eyes. So I'm just making another lily pad. I have to make a couple more because I do want my pond to look full. So I just turned on the light and it's a lot brighter and you can see their little smiles. So now you can see that I put the chocolate on the bottom. Oh, not the bottom, but like the middle, the bottom of the pond, but on top of the cake. So I put the two stingrays together. These are little mochi cubes, but I decided not to use them because it didn't really look natural. Don't worry, they're gonna get some water soon. Now I made a big mistake. I put in the jello, but it started to leak through. So you're supposed to have a kind of plastic thing to go around your cake to make sure the jello does not leak through the pan. But I didn't have that, so I just went for it and I put something underneath to collect the jello. And then I stuck it in the fridge right away so it would cool down as soon as possible. The jello is really tricky. You need to prep it the night before because you want it to be hard, and then you're just gonna microwave it for a few seconds so that it cools quicker. Now you can see it's starting to harden. This is the first layer. I had to do 2 layers to fully cover my fish. And then I added the lily pads and I made a flower, and this is the beautiful finished product. Happy birthday, I love you. Thanks for watching.